Hello, ladies, and good afternoon. It is Sarah Shipton here from Scrapbooking with Sarah, and I'm coming live to you today in our scrapbooking group on Facebook on Tuesday, October 14. And I am super excited to share this week's Technique Tuesday with you because I am going to be demonstrating and talking about one of my favorite products to use in my scrapbooking albums, and that is flip flaps. I know many of you have heard me talk about flip flaps before, and you might be thinking, oh my gosh, Sarah, we know all about this, but you would be surprised how many times I get asked about how to adhere the flip flap properly to your memory protector, how to decide what photos to use. So I can't wait to share my favorite tips with you, and I hope that you can find something from today that is of benefit to you. So who has joined us today? I can see Miss Sonia and Miss Pauline. Hello ladies, how are you? I hope you are enjoying your day today. Now, who would have thought that we would be using floral papers on a male's Year 12 graduation scrapbooking layout? I have to tell you ladies, these photos I have printed, and they have been sitting in my photo organizer here in my office for, well, let's say almost 3 years, because I just had not found the right papers to go with my photos. So what I do with my photos is that sometimes, like if I'm super eager to scrapbook them, I'll print them off and I'll have them sitting there ready to go. What I try to do is scrapbook photos I have already printed at home, and other times I will actually use the search function on my device to find photos that coordinate with the paper suite that I'm going to be sharing, showing and demonstrating to you all during the month. So these have been sitting here in my organizer, and if I do say so myself, I think that the papers from the Floral Charms suite have worked perfectly for Jai's Year 12 graduation photos. So I have opted for the colours Night of Navy. We've got some Timid Tiger here and also some Petal Pink. So I'm obviously going with, he was wearing all black, but his school colours were navy blue. There were actually a couple of different tones of blue, as you can see here in the school uniform here. So navy blue and some light blue. I have matted my photos using Night of Navy cardstock, and I've also matted some of the photos down the bottom here using Timid Tiger cardstock, but the lighter side of the two-tone Timid Tiger. And I have obviously brought in some of the colours that are in Kayla's beautiful dress here. So we've got some oranges and some pinks and some whites. And I just thought, oh my gosh, these papers are going to go perfect with these photos. And I have them scrapbooked. So that is a big tick. Let's talk about the scrapbook layout that we are recreating this week for the challenge. We are doing pattern 2H, which is on page 33 of the Reflections scrapbook program. This is an old how-to pattern book that I've pulled off the shelf, and we are going back to basics. We are doing a bottom border triple combination. So what's happening here is we are creating a border along the bottom of your scrapbook layout, and the triple combination is using 3 photos. So let me walk you through the cutting instructions and paper dimensions. First of all, you are going to need 2 sheets of coordinating designer series paper or cardstock. I've opted for the designer series paper here, the Night of Navy, and as you can see, we've got this pattern on the back. So 2 coordinating 12 by 12 inch sheets of paper or cardstock. You are going to need a piece of designer series paper or cardstock that you can run through the bottom here for your border, and this is going 12 inches in length across the bottom of your page, and you're going to cut it at 2 inches wide. Okay, so I've used the same sheet of paper, and in fact this paper, this Petal Pink paper running through here, was leftovers from my Floral Charm scrapbooking workshop kit. All lovely florals, one or the other. I don't have the instructional guide here with me. Oh, no, I do, sorry. It is the Lovely Florals scrapbooking workshop kit. So I have used some of my papers left over from my Lovely Florals scrapbooking workshop kit, but I've also bulked up the leftovers with a packet of the Floral Charm Designer Series paper, okay? I will drop links in the comments below so you know exactly what products I am working with. And you can also find on my website, scrapbookingwithsarahshipton.stampinup.net, in the My Projects tab on my homepage, all of the layouts I create are loaded into the My Projects section. And when you click on the View Details button for each layout, it will actually give you product recommendations that I've used on the layout, and you have the option to add them straight to your shopping cart from there. Okay, so coming back to my layout here, we've got the base pages, we've got a strip of paper here, I've used leftovers. You're then also going to need papers for your photo mats. Now, I haven't cut, I've cut B and C, the paper dimensions for B and C, but I've cut them a little bit differently, okay? So with this particular master pattern, they've used different size photos. I have stuck with the standard 4x4 inch photo in the middle here. So my mat has been cut at 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then either side here for the triple combination, I've got two smaller photos measuring 3 by 3 inches. And so I've cut those photo mats at 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So you've got your triple combination here for the bottom border. In this particular master pattern here, they've used a 5 by 7 inch photo. So then they have matted that 5 by 7 inch photo. So you can certainly opt to do that. Or you've got an alternate pattern here as well, where you can see 4 portrait photos running across the top of your layout measuring 4 by 6 inches. And I've kept those photos all at standard size, and then I've cut my photo mats at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 to mat my photos with the Night of Navy cardstock. This little journal box here, this was left over from my Lovely Florals scrapbooking workshop kit. You actually get 2 sheets of exclusive paper in the scrapbooking workshop kit, which you can cut down, as you can see here. And I have used them obviously on the 3 original layouts that came in the kit, and then I had these left over, so you can cut them down and you can use them on your other scrapbooking layouts. Okay, so if you missed my live video last week, I did share the 3 double page scrapbook layouts from that particular scrapbooking workshop kit in last week's Technique Tuesday. So you can catch up on that on my YouTube, Scrapbooking with Sarah Shipton. So I had this piece left over. So I've cut that out, and then I've measured that. I think off the top of my head, this was 5 by 3 inches. So then my mat for that would have been cut at 5 1/4 by 3 1/4. And instead of running it landscape, which I think you'll find was on one of the layouts from the scrapbooking workshop kit, I have run that vertically, and I've done my journaling on the top there. I've also added some of the little Night of Navy gems, and I had them here to share with you. Where are they hiding? Here they are here. So we've got the Charming Shimmer Faceted Dots. Now, these dots do not come in your scrapbooking workshop kit. I purchased these separately, and I did add them on my scrapbook layouts, but I have used these ones. You've got Night of Navy, Berry Burst, and Petal Pink here. I've used the Night of Navy gems on Jai's scrapbooking layout, and I thought these stickers were perfect for the layout. So I have used leftover stickers from my scrapbooking workshop kit. So you can see I've still got some more here, and in fact we'll use these probably on next week's scrapbooking challenge, I've opted for the words, the sentiments, happy day, feeling free, good times, and dream big. And I really felt that those sentiments captured perfectly graduation. As if you're not happy to be finishing school, right? After 13 years of school, of course you're feeling free. Yes, you are having good times. And did I want my boy to dream big? 100%. Absolutely. So there we go. A beautiful milestone moment captured. Now, coming back to the technique for this week and the product I'm going to be sharing with you is called flip flaps. Okay. Now, as you can see, I had more photos that I wanted to put on this particular scrapbooking layout. So this is where the flip flaps have come in really handy. So what I do is I'll sit down, I'll crop my photos first, in line with obviously the pattern that I'm creating. And then if I've got extra photos that I want to get on, I will crop them down to incorporate onto the layout, or keep as is if they're not a particular photo that can actually be cropped down. Okay, so let's talk about the flip flaps now. And I'm actually got another layout I'm going to be bringing in. You'll get a bit of a sneak peek on the scrapbooking workshop kit I'm going to be sharing and demonstrating with you all during November, which is called Keeping Traditions. So I'm going to show you firstly the scrapbooking layout. This is inside its memory protector. Okay, so we've got a 12 by 12 inch layout. They're slid into a top loading memory protector. So this memory protector can go into either a D-ring 12 by 12 inch album or a post-bound album. Okay, it doesn't matter. It can go into either. And I also have been asked what this second row here, this kind of added extra bit of memory protector here, that's so if this is in a post-bound album, when it goes into the post-bound album, you actually don't see this section. It needs to have a little bit of extra room to go into the post-bound album, because it kind of gets like sucked into the spine or like the middle of the album, if that makes sense. So it needs to have that little bit of extra room there. So same memory protector for either top load or post-bound album. So when I am working out my flip flaps, typically what I will do is I will put my favorite photos on the top, or the photos that coordinate with, I guess, more so the papers. So for example, of course, this is one of my favorite photos. This is Jai receiving his graduation certificate here. We had a screen displayed. He actually had his graduation ceremony the day before he turned 18. So that was super fun. So that is why I took a photo here of the screen at his graduation ceremony. And so I didn't necessarily need this on top. And this photo here is him receiving the award, but this photo here is, I guess, his professional looking photo where himself and the principal are both facing the camera. So it didn't bother me to have this covered over and this one not really needing to be on the front. By putting this photo of Kayla and I on the front, you can see here that the colour in her dress and just the warmth of the tone in the photo looked better being on top of the memory protector than the other two underneath it. So I hope that makes sense of why I've come to the conclusion of that particular photo there. In terms of this photo here, this is obviously myself and my husband Darren with Jai. So very important. He's the star of the show. He needed to be on the front here. And whilst these colours of the warmth, again, with the sunset here, Kayla and I've got my navy blue dress on, and you can see the oranges and the pinks really tie in nicely here. The day wasn't all about her and us. It was about Jai. And so I wanted these kind of formal looking photos. I'm very specific when I go to events to make sure to take photos. So I've got the four of us as a family. I've got the four of us with Jai's grandmother. I've got my son and daughter together on their own, and then another photo with us and Jai, just the three of us. And so they were kind of like, I guess, the official formal photos, if you want. And then these were just some fun candid ones that we had after the ceremony. We moved out onto the grounds of the school and they had some food trucks there and just some fun photo opportunities. And so you can see here, Kayla's taken a selfie of us with her. And this was a bit of a recreated photo because she also attended the same school as her brother. And we had this cute photo taken of the two of us together, literally posing like this. She's hugging me. And so we recreated that photo, which was really special. So again, that's the story and the meaning to me behind those photos, which is why I've incorporated that in there. So the reason for having Jai on front is that that's in line with this particular series of photos. Whilst the colors look perfect there, it was important for this particular photo for the flip flap to feature him on top. Okay, so I do think about that when I am working with my flip flap. I will take those things into consideration. What is the standout photo I want to show? What works best? Sometimes the colors do work better by being on top, and maybe if I had that reversed, I might have put these on top instead. So I do take each photo into account individually when I'm thinking about putting my flip flap on top. So coming back to the flip flap on top of the memory protector, you can see here that this is actually folded over on itself. Okay, so when I flip that up, you're not seeing this adhesive strip. The adhesive strip is actually covered, and I'm going to demonstrate that to you today in my video. So you want to make sure that your adhesive strip is covered. The other thing I think about is which way the flip flap is going to open up. Okay, so in this case, having it come that way works great because it's going to the outside of my album and it's not necessarily coming this way and covering this photo. You can also have your flip flap going up or coming down, or even back out the other way. So typically, if I've got my flip flap on the outside of my layout, I will position it so it goes to the outside of the album. And then in this instance here, where I've got a photo in the middle, I've flipped that up. So then when this is open, it's kind of like a little, almost like an exploding box or an exploding, you know, like you see those exploding card boxes where everything kind of opens out on itself. This is really fun. By opening that up, you can get the whole picture here with the board and the presentation, himself with his quote. I've got the house here. This was the house he was in while he was at Sacred Heart. And so I do really think about that as well in terms of which way it's opening up, okay? It doesn't matter so much in this sense that it's flipping up and it's kind of covering over those photos a little bit. You can still see us here. And really, when people are looking through my album, it's kind of like a quick flip up. They look at the photos and then they fold that back down again, okay? So with the square ones, of course, you could flip that up. You could stick your adhesive along the bottom so it flips down, or it could go left or right, which is the beauty about the flip flaps. You can have them turning any which way. Now, the tip I want to give you, if you are flipping up, you need to take into consideration that your photo is going to be upside down. So if I was just to turn that to the left or the right, you can see that's upside down. So if I know that I'm going to have my flip flap flipping up this way, what I will do is actually turn this photo upside down, or flip it over that way, and I'll put adhesive on the back of that photo, and then this photo I will stick over the right way up. So I actually do practice that, and the only reason I'm giving you that tip is, do you want to know the amount of times I have actually just turned my photo that way and stuck my photo on facing me like this, but when it flips up, it's the wrong way around. Okay, so you may wish to practice that technique first. Think about, okay, well, if it's going up this way, I need to make sure that I stick that photo facing up to me. So I hope that makes sense. Give me a little bit of a thumbs up or a double tap there with a love heart if that is making sense to you. Same as if you were coming downwards. You would want to practice flipping it down, so you would making sure. And as you can see here, this is another one of my favorite tips that I love to do, is I actually stick my photos back to back on each other rather than just sliding them in, because the photos will move around in your album, okay? So by sticking them on there, I don't have any white spaces that are sneaking out from behind if the photos are moving around inside their flip flap, and it just keeps it nice and secure. Same for flipping out this way. I mean, that's pretty straightforward because it's flipping to the left or the right. Both photos are going to be facing upwards, so I don't have to think about that too much. It doesn't require as much brain power, but you definitely want to stick your photos back to back. It's definitely a fun thing to do. I just have to think about which way I'm putting it in. I typically will slide it into my flip flap first, and then I will adhere it on top. So who would like to see me demonstrate this for you in the flesh? What I have got here is a sneak peek of my scrapbooking workshop kit coming for December. This is called the Keeping Traditions scrapbooking workshop kit. And I've got my base page of my scrapbook layout here created, and I've got some photos that I've pre-cut that we're going to put into a flip flap on that side, and some photos I've pre-cut that we're going to put onto a flip flap on the other side. You will want to have your 12 by 12 inch top load memory protectors ready for this. I like to stick my flip flap on straight away so I can get a feel for where that's going. So before we put the memory protectors on, I'm just going to walk you through my thought process for the flip flaps here. So I've created my double page layout. I am working with the Keeping Traditions scrapbooking workshop kit. And so when I'm cropping my photos and working out how many I've got, if I've got extra that I want to get on, I just go, no big deal. I can just chuck a couple of flip flaps on. And obviously you need to give consideration to that, because for every flip flap you add, it's 2 extra photos, because I'm going to be sticking these 2 photos back to back, and then they're going to go over the top of another photo, okay? Same on this side here. So the left hand side, we've got 3 by 3 inch photos, and here we've got, this was actually meant to be, if I show you here, the layout is showing 2 4 by 6 inch photos, landscape. I didn't have any landscape photos, and so one of my tips that I love to do is cut down other photos. So these are all being cut at 3 by 4, but I've matted them next to each other on the photo mat, which is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And so in essence, I've got 4 extra photos. Well, I've got 4 photos on my layout here, but I've got another 2 photos here that I've cut down at 3 by 4, because I'm going to stick these over the top of my layout, okay? So in terms of deciding what's going where, this was Boxing Day a couple of years ago, and so excited. You know you are like a fully fledged grown-up, right, when you get to host your own Christmas Day event. And I made my first ever pavlova, which I was very proud of, because baking is not something that I'm super great at or really enjoy doing, to be honest with you. So, but at Christmas time, Kayla always ropes me in, gets me doing some baking. So this is the pavlova before she's gone in the oven. And then this is the pavlova when she's come out, and here she is here. And I'm whipping the cream, drinking some champagne in the kitchen at the same time, of course. And here she is decorated and on display on my dessert table. So I want her on here, but it doesn't necessarily need to be the photo that's going to stick on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into a flip flap, and we're going to put her on top of the memory protector. The photo that I've got that's going to flip outwards is kind of a repeat of this photo here, but I've got Jai in the background here giving us a little bit of his fun energy there. And so I do love to put in those really candid shots at all. I definitely make sure I'm taking proper photos for events like Christmas and Easter and birthdays, but I do love some candid shots as well for my scrapbooking. So what we're going to do is we are going to pop this layout into the memory protector. Now this is the left hand side, so the part of the memory protector that is going to go in the middle of the album will be on the inside. So I've got my photo mat and my photo on top there. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pop some adhesive. I've got my Stamp and Seal Plus. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of adhesive in each corner there. Now, I've cropped this photo down and I can't for the life of me remember which way up it went, but I like that. So I'm going to stick this photo on top of the other one. Now, because I'm deciding to flip it to the right, I don't need to practice flipping my photo first of all. It's going to come out like so. So I've got my pavlova on top and the repeat photo underneath, okay? So let's come to my flip flaps. I have got one of each pack I always keep on hand. So these are the 4x6 inch, the 4x4, the 3x4, and also the 3x3. So in this instance, we need a 3x3 inch flip flap. And the square flip flaps are super easy because it can be at the top, it can be at the bottom, it can be at the left or the right, okay? And you can see here that I've got this open pocket piece. You want the open part to be face down on your scrapbook layout because this adhesive strip is actually going to fold in over the top of itself, okay? So my open pocket face down, and my adhesive strip is going to fold over the top of that. So I'm going to slide my 3x3 inch photos there, and you can see when I peel that adhesive backing off and fold that underneath, this is going to be closed, okay? So the photo can't slip out. It's sealed over by that fold where the adhesive strip is going to go. So I'm going to peel my adhesive backing off. These tend to get a little staticky. I'm not going to lie. Oh, I've done that the wrong way. Oh, no, there. Oh, my gosh. You wouldn't know that I've been using flip-flaps for like a million years, girls, would you? Alrighty. So I'm going to line this up. I'm just going to fold that over. Now, if you stick it down and you're like, oh, I haven't quite got it where I want it, that's okay. You can rip it on up and she'll be good. But once it's down after a couple of days, if I was to tear this flip flap off, it is going to leave the adhesive on top of your memory protector, and then you can either try and clean that off, or you can just scrap the memory protector and start afresh. So what I'm doing is I'm going to line up my photo over the top of the other photo, okay, and then I'm going to press that adhesive strip down. So I'm still seeing a perfect mat underneath the photo where the flip flap is, and the adhesive strip is covered by the flip flap. Does that make sense? How cool does that look? And I've got the reds and I've got the blue from the blueberries. I thought just looked perfect with the cherry cobbler and the secret C. So that's my left hand side of my layout. I could have come this way, but because I've got a journal box here and I've got title here and title here, if I have that open, the reader can still read my journaling as well as having the flip flap open, okay? So let's get our other memory protector, and we are going to slide my 12x12 scrapbook layout into here. And this one I've got two 3x4 inch photos. So, this will be a good tip. So I need a 3x4 inch flip flap. Now, when you are using the 3x4 or the 4x6 inch flip flaps, you get 10 flip flaps in a pack. And I'm just going to show you here. This is my last 3x4. But with the 3x4 and the 4x6, you get 10 flip flaps, and you're going to get 5 with the adhesive strip at the top, so vertically, and you're going to get another 5 with the adhesive strip going horizontally. Okay, now keep in mind, you can have your flip flap going up, you can go it down, you can actually have it with the horizontal photo going this way, and you could flip it to the left or you could flip it to the right. So that kind of sounded like a bit of a rap, didn't it? You can really have that going any way. Okay, that's the cool thing I love about the flip flaps. Same with your vertical ones, or really horizontal, I guess it's either way. You can have it going lengthways. I could have my flap at the bottom so it goes down like so, or I can have it to the left flipping that way, or to the right flipping out. So you've got a little bit of versatility there. I just wanted to show that to you because I don't have a second 3x4 inch flip flap, which is kind of annoying because I ultimately wanted to have my flip flap going out this way. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just for the sake, you know what, I think I've probably got another packet of these in stock. Just bear with me for 2 seconds. Yes, I do. This is the best thing about being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I can just go and take a packet of flip flaps from my stock. I'm going to open this up, and I want a flip flap that is on the side, okay, because I want it to come outwards like that. Now, when I was thinking about what photo to have on top, I really wanted my Pavlova on top because she's the star of the show, but you can see the Pavlova here. And we can see the Pavlova here also. So I thought, okay, let's have her on the bottom. I've got the All Is Calm, All Is Bright sticker over the top of my photo. So the Secret Sea ties in really beautifully with the blueberries. And I've decided that I'm going to have my Christmas cocktails on the front because that is red and pink, which matches beautifully with my designer series paper. So let's go ahead and pop a little bit of, you can see my thought process in here. Like it's not random, girls. I really think this out, don't I? And I know some of you are the same as me when it comes to where you are going to put your flip flap. So I'm just popping some adhesive on the back of my photo. I'm sticking one photo on the back of the other. So I need to have my flip flap with the adhesive strip on this side. I'm going to slide my photo in. This is the one that's going to be on the front. We are popping the adhesive strip back behind itself, and then that's going to flip out like so. So I'm just putting this on the side so I can see this really easily when I go to stick it on. So I am just going to line that photo up with my other photo and seal that down. So I'm just holding the adhesive strip in the corners there, and look at that. You can tell I've had a lot of practice with lining up those flip flaps, but if you get it on and it's not quite aligned, you can actually lift that up and reposition that. So let's bring that layout in. Here we go now with my completed layout, and we've got a flip flap here in 3x3 and another one here in 3x4. So this really just captures the dessert and the Christmas cocktails and the French champagne, all relaxing in the afternoon after a big lunch. It was time to just kick back, have some dessert, drink some champagne, make some gin cocktails with our raspberry flavoured vodka there. And we were having a lovely afternoon, relaxing and celebrating being together. And thank you to Flip Flaps for helping me to get all of those beautiful photos and therefore stories on my layout. So I hope that that has been helpful for you today, girls. A very detailed, in-depth description about flip flaps and how I use them on my scrapbooking layouts. I cannot wait to see what you ladies come up with today. And I'm going to spend some time this afternoon checking in and having a look at your layouts from last week. So a big thank you to those of you that have joined us this afternoon. Jill's popped in, Emily's popped in. Thanks so much, ladies. Have a wonderful week, and please share your artwork in the scrapbooking group. Bye for now.